Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. We're going to be breaking down the futures contract per usual. We're looking at the ES daily contract right here on the continuous contract with TOS. They're continuous. We do have rollover coming up. I'll roll over next week. Some people are already rolling over to the new contract. For me, I will roll over next week to the next contract. But let's go ahead and dive into it. We'll look at the daily. We'll look at the 30-minute time frame. I did not trade ES today. I did trade NASDAQ, and I got absolutely destroyed on the short squeeze. Should have cut my loss a lot sooner. I initially had a pretty good position, took it off for a couple points, made money, and then I got short again against single prints because at the time the market looked like it wanted to go down, at least in the NASDAQ, not so much ES. And I'll show you guys that kind of briefly on the NASDAQ. But let's go ahead and look at the ES futures contract. So on Friday, I left you guys with the premise that I was calling the daily balance, that we had just stretched the balance because our previous balance high was 97, and then we stretched it up to 46.07. Okay. So I just said that we stretched our balance high, and then if buyers were serious, I wanted to see us take out today's high and continue to one time frame up if that was the case. However, that was not. Today we took out the previous day's low, or Friday's low. We took that out and pretty much chopped around in the lower distribution from Friday. Remember, Friday was a double distribution, and we pretty much just chopped around the lower distribution from that day. Early on was a pretty good push to the downside after a brief inventory adjustment. But for the most part, it was a push down in the morning, only to have a V-shaped recovery to the upside after that fact. And then, yeah, so that's basically all that happened in the ES. Back to balance 46.0775 down to 45.3775. All right, now we're looking at our 30-minute time frame on the ES. Basically, what I'm about to highlight was the lower distribution. So, not the worst thing for sellers to have closed in the lower distribution. However, where I'm highlighting is the lower distribution. Where I'm highlighting up top is the upper distribution, right? Buyers wanted to open up here above the non-wide point of control, get the daily and that weekly high at 46.0775, continue the one-time framing up on the weekly, and continue the one-time framing up on the daily. However, they failed miserably at that by taking out the previous day's low, opening below the set of single prints. So for the most part, those single prints are indeed gone, but it was just a good area to kind of reference. So those single prints are gone. However, you can still rely on, where the upper distribution or the lower end of the upper distribution is, which is at 45.9250, to kind of, you don't want to see, if you're a seller, you don't want to see buyers get back above basically 90. If you get above 45.90, you'll most likely get the point of control at 45.98 and then continue to one time frame up on the weekly. All right. We'll have to look at the weekly time frame real brief to kind of gauge. I can't remember exactly where last week's low was. What was last week's low? Last week's low was 44.75. So 44.75 is last week's low. That's what we got to get to stop the one-time framing on the daily or on the weekly time frame. So basically, we need to take out the 30th's low. We got to take this low out here. I'm gonna label that weekly low as well, so I know in the future that that's what that is, and we'll kind of just bolden, make that a little bit thicker. So buyers want to push up, continue to one time frame up on the weekly time frame, and that would require us to take out Friday's high, which is now a balance high on the daily. So after taking out the previous day's low, we came down, got that 10 wide point of control from the 30th, and then just missed going down and getting that 44.75. Now keep in mind, this area here with a 10-wide point of control was where a lot of buyers were accumulated initially and then got distributed up here, right? So same thing, we came into that area where there was a lot of demand, or a lot of area, basically an area where people were willing to buy again, looking to rotate back up. And they kind of got that rotation and got their payday, to say the least. We ended up going out with a price probe to the upside. So basically a V shape and then a whole lot of nothing. Chop in the ES that is ugly as fuck. Whole lot of chop. We end up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wide. Why is my music playing? We end up 10 wide at 68.25. Feel like I've said that before. 68.25 is going to be 10 wide point of control. We have our high a day up here at 79.75, and then we have today's low just below that 10 wide point of control at 53.50. So still holding that 45.50 level. Key level is what that is turning out to be. So we go out with the day's high, the day's low, 10 wide point of control, and an afternoon pullback low. Not textbook, but 65 will be kind of an area to watch, I suppose, because we did pull back, held that, and then rotated back up. And then we'll go over my horrible NASDAQ trade just briefly, and then get you guys on the way. So 79, 75, high of day, 12.04. 12.04.23, 68.25, 10 wide. Boom, oh, boom, boom. And then we have our low of day down here at 53.50. I'm not going to mark the afternoon pullback low because it's not textbook, but I will say that is an area you definitely need to hold if you are, if you are a buyer. You do not want to open below the 10 wide point of control. Low of day was today 04.23. Alrighty, so buyers want to open above 68.25, take out the day's high. If we do take out today's high, 79.75, look to rotate back up into this upper distribution from 46.07 down to 92.50. If we can get above 92.50, you'll go trade at that 9 wide point of control at 98. If we open below the 10 wide point of control at 68.25, look to rotate down to 53.50. If we can't take it out, you will rotate back up. Same thing with the upside. If you can't take it the high day, you will rotate to the other end. Just got to keep this choppiness in mind. And then 44.75 weekly low is where buyers definitely want to defend if they want to keep the one time framing up intact on the weekly time frame. So sellers want to get 44.75 with some good extension and acceptance below. That was the previous week's low, so that is not any longer valid. So they want to get below that. If not, then good luck to the buyers. All right, let's go briefly over my NASDAQ horrible trade real quick. Terrible trade. So we're looking at 30-minute on the NASDAQ, just briefly. So early on, we had gone trend down in NASDAQ. We're holding single prints, which is an area I'm about to highlight. So where sellers wanted to be present, essentially. So I'm going to highlight red. So that whole area from 15.823 down to 63.50, 763.50, and 823. You wanted to be a seller in that range, especially because we were one time framing down. We had the single prints, had the overnight low, and had gone down on the daily in NASDAQ. So you were looking for sellers to really step up. So on the push up, I was expecting sellers to hold their position. So I got into a position on the sell side, made money initially, and then re-entered where the single prints filled at 23. It kept pushing up, grinding up. I added at 38, kept grinding up. And at this point, I should have just taken the loss for a small amount compared to what I did lose. Instead, I added once more above 50. And then once it got above the open, I got stopped out and lost the account. So now we got to battle back. So not only did I lose an account, I lost time and effort that I'd put into that account, and basically just kind of gave it away. So NASDAQ, same thing, high, low, wide point of control, afternoon pullback, low. But it's funny how they got just above the open and then came right back down, and to a point to where I would have made money. That's just how it goes, right? You end up getting stopped out, and then the market does exactly what you thought was going to happen, just not when you needed it to happen. So maybe I should have been more patient, let the market squeeze out the shorts that were caught down here, and then got in. But with everything in the seller's favor at the time, I was comfortable. I definitely probably should have taken the trade off once we completely began one time framing up, and I would have been in a better position. So now it's just a matter of, am I in this for real, or am I just bullshitting myself and wasting time? That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm going to keep on trying. It's a tough thing to lose over and over and over again, but it's, the resilience and how you bounce back that matters. So we're going to bounce back, and we're going to do better in the future, especially when it comes to taking a loss. I definitely could have taken the loss right in that trade on NASDAQ. Could have taken the loss, $500, taking the loss, and then re-entered above the open and gotten the pullback that I was looking for, and would have made back the money that I lost and then some, right? So that's just, you got to accept the losses, and that's something I got to be better at, and we're going to work on going forward. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.